Welcome to another episode of Woman to Woman. My name is Sandra Campbell. Today my co-hosts are
Roxy Williams
and
Naima Latif.
We want to thank you for joining us. As Roxy says and Wanda, call a friend, grab a pen, call a friend. We're going to have a great show tonight. Now, our first topic is going to be on world peace and how it is going to, or has it impacted Muslim women. And our expert tonight for that discussion is our very own Miss Naima Latif. Naima, as we were talking before.
An expert, huh?
Of course. Hey, I'm an expert on being fabulous. But anyway, Naima, we were talking before the show. Tell me, how has all of the conflict and whatnot going on in Egypt and Libya and even the current situation now with the death of Osama bin Laden, how has this impacted the lives of Muslim women? I always see, you know, when they on television, you always see the men, you know, and they're talking about what's going on in the country, but they never interview the women. So from your perspective as a Muslim woman, you know, share with us, you know, how this has affected you, even here in America in your everyday life.
Well, I think America is really going through a challenging time because never before have we really faced religious tension the way we have now. Yeah. This is supposed to be the melting pot and all of that, but after 9/11 there was intense hostility towards Muslims, and even though I had a lot of friends who knew me, known me for years, knew I was Muslim, there was still a certain amount of fear and uncertainty, and you know, there was a time.
But why were they fearful of you? I mean, you've always been a resident of the U.S., correct?
Yes, yes. It was the propaganda. Propaganda can change anybody's mind. I mean, we know as African Americans, if on television there's a repeated image of black people, women being drug addicts or being welfare mothers, we know that we're impacted by that because people start believing what they see. So when people start hearing and believing every Muslim person has been trained to be a suicide bomber, all those kind of ridiculous things, then people start getting nervous in your presence, even people who've known you for a while. So I found it kind of interesting that the image that the world was seeing of Muslim men and women was affecting the way people who had known me for a long time, because they didn't understand. They didn't understand why this happened and all of that.
I mean, and that's a little crazy. I know you and Roxy have known each other a long time. I mean, when 9/11 occurred, did you have any different sense, or were you curious about whether or not Naima had a role in it, or you know what?
Somebody asked me,
no joke.
It truly brought up some anxieties because not so much of whether she had a role in it or she would play a role in it, but for her safety, for her own. I mean, knowing her, knowing who she is and what she really stands for, could be misconstrued with just the, you know, tragedy. I felt the same way when Osama was assassinated. You know, I didn't know what is the state of safety for our Muslim women and men in this country. I was very happy with the decision that Obama made not to put the pictures up, you know, of...
yes, I think that was a little bit morbid, and I think a little extreme also. I mean, if you're going to trust the Navy SEALs, and this is what your president has said, okay, the body is, you don't need to see the body.
I mean, it was a wartime act, right. And it was good that he said this is not a war against Islam, because it's so easy for people to suddenly see us against them kind of thing. And that's one of the reasons why people were saying when things first got, they were saying, well, you should stop wearing your garb and you know, got the head covering and all that, and people know what you are, and maybe you should take it off for a while. I said, no, it's important. You are who you are, and it's important that I be strong in who I am in order to give that safety for those who want the right to be who they are. And so that we can address whatever racial bigotry exists, whatever religious bigotry exists, we have to face it and overcome it as a nation of people and as a world community.
Well, Naima, let me ask you this question as far as from a Muslim perspective. What is the conversation now of the conduct that you guys must have in wartime here in America?
Well, there was a time that there was a fear. You know what happened, of course, with World War II and the Japanese concentration camps, where there was a time when there were a lot of Muslims being rounded up and put in prison, same way. And I even had friends, a friend of mine in St. Louis they came, raided his house, took him away. And him and his wife, they ran a daycare center out of their home. And they took him away. He was locked up in jail for 3 months. You know,
did she lose her business?
It was on shaky ground for a long time. It was very difficult. And a lot of people who knew him knew he was an upstanding citizen, but they said, well, and the police came and got him. The FBI came and got him. He must be guilty.
So they threw suspicion on this person.
Right.
And so that's the fear that I have, even at this stage, is you can be an innocent bystander, upright citizen in America, and someone throw a stigma on you, and you've got to undo what's done, and that is incredible in America too.
It can happen.
So as you know, the sisterhood goes forward, is there any fear? Is there any anxiety amongst your sisterhood for their own safety?
There were some women who felt intimidated by the hostility. I've got a lot of friends who, on the job, you know, they face a certain amount of hostility. Some of them felt like, well, maybe I should be a little low-key, maybe I should change my dress style. Some of them said, no, I'm not doing that. I just have to face it. So it's a matter of your own faith, your own strength. You know, if you decide that you're going to stand for who you are and what you stand for.
That's where I'm at with any religion. There comes a point where your faith must stand trial.
It must stand
trial. You either are or you're not, and you are who you are. And it's good to see that, you know, you can speak from the perspective. There are great Muslims out here.
And that's another thing. To be a Muslim is not simply to be a member of a particular religion.
Right.
This is a way of life.
It's a way of life. This is a state of being.
This is another society within our society, and I think that's where a lot of the misinterpretation takes place. It's beyond that, you know. It's just like someone telling us to give up our rights or the fact that we're Americans. If you say, well, you know what, you're a Muslim, you need to abandon these ways and cast this aside. And it's unfortunate. But Senator Durbin, I was glad he did introduce bills to make people stop, you know, having a negative reaction. I hope that goes forward. But, you know, and I'm glad you shared that with us. Roxy brought up another really important topic when it came to trying to understand the warning signs of when you are about to get fired.
Right,
as a woman, from a woman's perspective.
And it's an incredible segue from, you know, one thing to another. Yeah, I think that we need to face some facts. There are some warning signs when you know you are about to get fired. You know when your boss has said, like, enough is enough. You play that game a little too long and had this hunted and got captured by the prey.
No, you've been a little bit too vague. Okay, because I want to understand the hunter and the prey.
Well, you know, I can just talk about some of the observations I've made in corporate America. People will start out with the best of intentions and positions, bring their A game, and then they begin to play office politics, not really knowing the rules. And once they bump into the real gorilla there, they cannot hide. You know, this gorilla tears up everything to find you. They cannot hide. And when they realize that they're in trouble, they make some really crazy, toxic decisions. Instead of just going out by themselves, which is what they came by themselves on the job, they will begin to, you know, try to undergird themselves with other people so that, you know, if I'm going out, they're not going to take all of us out. And they don't really understand corporate America or the signs that you're just out. They want you off the team.
And sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with doing something wrong. Sometimes it's a matter of if the boss, maybe they want to bring in their son or daughter who just graduated from college and they really want them in your position, and that's just
nothing to do with you and your ability or capability.
But
on other times, it's, you know, one good sign that they can just look in the mirror and know it's them is their attitude. You know, when your attitude is so foul that people don't even want, I mean, they're very cordial, but they really don't want to bother with you. No lunch, no conversation.
But you know, this is the day and the age, you know what, I need to project what I feel. I'm up in here, you need to be damn glad I'm here type attitude.
And that's usually the attitude. It is self-righteous, it's arrogant. Well, you know, if I wasn't here, like, the whole place would fall apart. Well, you've only been here 5 and it's been here 20. So are you serious?
Right, well, people don't realize, you know, a business is something that someone who owns decides to bring people around that they enjoy being around. No one owes you a job.
Absolutely.
So, you know, being an employer, you know, when you choose to hire somebody, you do start with your friends, people who you like, who
That's
have
a-
trust.
that's-
And will be committed and loyal
And will be
to
committed
the
and
company.
loyal
That's
to
not
you.
bad. That's
Not
Yes.
somebody who you can't stand when they come to the door because they have
I
a
don't
nasty
care
attitude.
how many
Why
rules
would you
you
torture
bring
yourself
out about
like that?
nepotism. I can trust my mother on a job more than
That's
I
real.
can someone that I brought in. And this is the other sign. You know it's on its way when they have asked you to train somebody for your position and you
Right.
have that resistance. It's not a cheerful free will type of
We need you to train them.
request. And
Right.
then you become defensive and you let them know that, oh, you play the game. Okay, I'll train them, but in your mind, your conscious mind is saying, I'm not telling them nothing.
Now, have you ever been in the other position where you're the person who's being trained and you know that you're being prepared to take that person's job and you have to put on the face like you don't?
She's been there.
Absolutely. I mean, up
She's
close
been there.
and personal. You all on my toes. You better get up off my toes. And it's painful because you don't want to be made a fool of, but it's equally painful to see a fool in that position act as if they don't know they're coming after you. And I'm getting out the way when they get here. I'm not going to be a casualty at wartime.
So have you ever had a situation where somebody was supposed to train you and you felt like they weren't showing you things and wouldn't allow you to have access to information because they didn't want you to perhaps
I had a very
get that position?
intellectual young woman supposed to train, and she told me she would let me shadow her. So I sat in the back while she tapped all day long and said, you getting it? You see how I do it?
And she didn't mean for you to get
And
it.
so at the point that, someone came and asked, how you coming along? What are you, gathering from the training? And I said, well, all I'm gathering is that this young lady is totally not going to train me or anybody else.
Right.
Now that
You
is
would
the
be a
bottom
threat.
line. You can waste your money another 8 hours if you like. And so, it puts the company in a catch-22 because then they see the errors of their ways. Because I think, when I worked for the state for 13 years, I believed in policies having cross-training. If you're a business owner out there and you don't have cross-training as part of your duties as assigned, think about it, because you have
got to
to
remember, some people don't even know what you just talked about. We say cross-training.
Well-
And see that, I mean, there's more to business than just going into business.
Absolutely.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
and what you talk about
But I'm
is,
saying I don't want anybody to be able in any business to hold you hostage because they know something.
Yeah, well, that's what an employer has to make sure, even though you hire people who know
and
the
then
things
it's
you
not
need to
your
know.
business, and it's that person's
Right,
business.
because if you have somebody working for you and they
And
know more
that's a
about your
good
business than
point.
you do, then you're right. It's going to end up their
Yeah,
business.
it's their
Right.
business, not your
They'll
business.
they'll
anymore.
take your clients and go and start their own business. I know a lot of people who've done it,
Right. And for me,
and
even
they feel
in
like,
my
wait, why am I working for you when I know more than you know? I can do this
They
business
come in
myself.
the door thinking that they need to run the place, be the CEO and the CFO.
And I've had it on the other side where I've worked under a person who's done a job for like 20 years. And she said, you're a youngster out of college thinking you know everything. And I just had to stop her and say, listen, out of all respect, there is a possibility that I know how to do this right, and perhaps you've been doing it wrong for 20 years. So just like I need to teach, listen, I also need to teach. Now, you can take it now, or you can take it like a woman later. But either way it goes, I'm not going to keep. The reason I'm here is because what you're doing is not working. And so I didn't hire me to do this, but since I've been hired to do it, you either going to run with the change or get ran over by it. And sometimes you have to step that game up to let them know, listen, I'm not here, really. It's like God asking Adam, where are you? He ain't really looking for an answer. I'm here, not so much for you to train me, okay?
But now, don't you think in that situation there could end up being a battle where one of you trying to get the other fired because it's a power struggle?
To say. So you went into disgruntled employees 101.
Right, but see, this is where age and experience and maturity comes with a job, is that I'm not going to, one, get myself involved with a hostile, very tense, toxic situation. I'm only going to state facts. Either you did what you were supposed to do or you did not.
Do you keep an exit plan at your job? Did you keep an exit plan at your job?
Oh, always. I always said that when I
was
was
there
going
a signal?
to leave.
Wait a minute. No. I ain't talking about when you're going to leave and go to another job. I mean, in the event something jump off.
Oh,
Do you all know where all the exit
plan.
doors are?
Let's be clear. I work by the door. Let's be clear. My car is parked outside the door.
Where you keep your keys?
Right in my hip pocket. Mama know how to grab that purse and keep it moving.
Okay, what's your strategy?
Oh, well, same thing. I think with every corporate job that I've had, you know, I was always planning to be independent at some point anyway, so I really only came to this job to help me get better at my business.
Okay, we understand all that. So, well, how did you deal with conflict in the event someone decides to set it off?
If they're going to get violent and go postal?
And the other kind of way. We ain't going to say postal. We don't want no postal workers.
That's right.
She didn't mean that some people. She just meant
Even though
aggressive.
there's probably going to be in the encyclopedia pretty soon. Cause,
Again, so what did you do?
Let's see, if I ever, you know, actually, I have experienced that it wasn't me that went off, but it was a person who they did flip out.
And what'd you do?
Well, actually, I tried to be the peacemaker. I don't know if that was smart or not.
You on TV, you tried to be the peacemaker?
Well, you know, for some reason, I
glad
felt
you're still standing here in one piece.
For some reason, I felt that I could talk them down and I could, you know, help.
Denzel Washington,
She's been watching
hostage
TV
rescue.
too much.
But see, in my case, I started, you know, and this was the interesting thing. I started teaching conflict resolution because I really was upset that they didn't know how to really, you know, kick this thing off. You know, you halfway tell her that she's off the door. No, just tell her, because I really want to see the impact of the shock value. You're out, you know. And then I want to see, once she processes this thing and it registers to her that the people I thought liked me, they really don't like me.
But don't
and
you think,
I like that moment.
But don't you think there's a tactful way to fire someone? I mean, usually people say, well,
there is no
we'll
tactful
accept
way
your
of-
resignation or
No,
something.
see,
you know,
there's no tactful way
you
of
say
being
face
fired.
something.
If I could say this, Sandra, all the times that I worked in a leadership role, I told folk, you don't have to cradle her because I'm coming. But when I come to let her go, it's not going to be a surprise to me and you. If you follow the appropriate measures of handling an employee, giving them every tool to do their job, doing the supervisions to know what they need, and then they still have that, what I call passive aggressive, they're not going to do it, they're not going to listen. All you do is let them write themselves, write out the program. I'm just here to deliver the boom. And so when it comes to that time, that's why I've never been scared to tell somebody, your card is up,
but see,
and your services are no longer needed.
I'm not talking about necessarily, you know, people go off. It has nothing to do. I mean, have you not been sitting up where, and I've been in a situation, it was real funny. I mean, a long time ago, I used to work for Spiegel's, okay, I don't care. And the person would sit up there, and the person was mumbling. I was young, I didn't know nothing about it. I was real naive, really stupid. And she used to talk to herself all the time. That's when the girl got me in training. I said, why does she talk to herself all the time?
Don't talk about people talk about.
She said she's not talking to herself. I said, what do you mean? She said she is about to go completely off.
You felt
I
it
said,
coming,
you sure
huh?
she's not tripping? She said, no. Sure enough, we're sitting up there one day, we did this little microfilm department. This chick goes completely ballistic. And while I'm sitting up here trying to pick up the stuff that fell on the floor, I had a lady tap me on the back. She said, baby, run. I said, huh? She said, run. Because she started just throwing stuff.
Right.
But then she was throwing little file cabinet drawers and different stuff, and I was
but before you even get, there are so many signs to when you know you're
because she was up there talking. No, she wasn't on a fire. I don't even know if they ever fired her. She was sitting up there talking to you. Said one of the warning signs. You see somebody said, I'm gonna start this stuff. They're gonna learn. You know, I'm like, what is wrong with it? Because for a while I thought she was singing.
But isn't it possible you could actually have a lot of stress in your life and you get to the point where you just snap and you just happen to snap at work?
It's called EPA.
And see,
I'm sorry, EAP, Employee Assistance Program.
But you know
every
what?
job needs to have one.
I agree with you, Naima, because insanity is a fragile state. You know, there is mental illness on folks that have gone undiagnosed.
Y'all could blame that on mental. Everybody
No,
who goes off ain't mentally ill.
Sandra, there are some people who are mentally ill and they've just gone undiagnosed. They are under-medicated and they are operating functionally.
Have you ever lost your temper? Have you ever lost your temper and just went ballistic at
I have. So I have snapped because I told them. I said, listen, the conversation is closed. I heard what you said, and I'm intelligent enough to understand it, but you keep walking up on me, and I would just one more time tell you to back that thing up, back up. You know, because you crowd my space and I don't want you in my video. You're just a boss. You are not my God.
Ooh.
And so let me go ahead and finish my day. This is why I always tell people, if you're going to let someone go, do not do it at the top of the day. Wait till the last minute of the
when
last
they're leaving anyway.
Oh,
hour.
no, I disagree, because you're not going to have me sit up here, work 8 hours a day, get your job
gotta
out
pay
there
for
and
that-
tell
your
me,
time, though.
I don't care. Let me go home in the morning. I can be out there finding me a new job. You're not going to
You
make
can
me
start
work
early the next
until
day.
4:30, 5 o'clock.
I
You
can
can let
tell
me
you
go.
that.
I can go to the unemployment office. I mean, I don't have to sit there on your job all day long, and you knew you was going to find me.
And you know what? I'll tell you what I did to my boss, and it's not funny, and I do not suggest this for Fragile Minds.
You said it was funny.
I explained to her to back up off me, and there are some people who have to show the whole office that they're the boss. And prior
So
to
does that push your buttons when somebody shows that they're an authority over you? Does that?
I can take the authority, but I think when they try to bully or overexert authority that they don't have,
Yeah.
like, you know, I can always decide I don't want to sit here or be here or work here. I still have options. And so before she went to lunch, she shouldn't have probably came to me before she went to lunch, but she went to lunch and she came back and I was cool as a fan because I took all the crazy glue up out my wallet and put it all over her seat and her desk. And that black suit had that crusty, you know how crazy glue dry all over the seat. She was wondering why her hands were sticking to the desk. I did some craziness.
Now, did she know that before this time that you were the one who did it? She knows
And
now?
like I say, it's just like cheating. Don't ask, don't tell. But they did try to say, you know, who's disgruntled, who's a little hostile and upset. And I was so pleasant for the rest of the afternoon, they never even knew it was me, you know. But to this day,
You get a phone call
I
after
hope
this
Miss
show
Wallace,
airs.
you knew it was me.
True confessions.
It's too late now. You're already gone from that
Now,
job
you
like that.
asked her that question. Have you ever gone off?
Oh, several times.
Uh-oh.
And this is
Not,
why.
Not Miss Naima Latif.
But see, this is why
you
I
gotta
know
do
that I have to constantly work on anger management because there's those buttons that somebody can push, and for me, if somebody tries to publicly humiliate me,
Right.
that'll do it. Because even though you know you can ignore people, but it's when knowing someone made an intentional decision to try to humiliate me publicly, try to
So
dishonor
what
me.
did you do? I mean, were you yelling? Did it become
This
physical?
isn't going to incriminate you. will
It depends. I mean.
Let's say about personal charges. Too late. Statute of limitations
Yeah,
run
right.
out.
Statute,
You're,
I mean,
you're okay.
there
okay.
was a time when I became physically violent. There was
You
a
were
time
physical?
I became verbally violent, and there
You
were
were cussing?
times that I.
Naima was cussing. You were cussing?
Did I say any
Just tell me
cuss
if you was
words?
cussing. Don't pretend like you didn't know you was cussing.
I didn't say any cuss words.
That wasn't no fun.
But
Okay,
the words I
anyway.
said were so cutting that it
You
just,
understood. And that's
Yes.
the other thing.
No, I
you
want
know,
to hear about the physical violence now. Wait, let her finish, because you know this is a whole new side of Naima that I don't. I
there's
need to
always
know.
this devilish
Come
part
on,
about
come on.
Sandra.
It's not that. I mean, curiosity.
Well, you know, there's a
always
boiling point, and I know I had this boiling point, and I had reached the boiling point.
Right.
And
So what you do? Threw a book? Broke a glass?
I you know, shoved and hit a few times.
You hit somebody?
Yes.
Hey, what was the camera? Okay, did you draw blood? I mean, I just
think so.
cannot see. See, this is the warning. Because see, I would never ever think Naima would be physical.
Oh no! And this is
it's in
another
all of us. So
thing
you,
that
you,
I
ha-
will
you have
say.
to know.
See, that, I mean,
what's
that's the
in
scary
you.
part,
so
right?
So that
thing
you
that
don't
I would
allow it
say,
to get to that point.
Knowing myself, when I tell you, listen,
Now, I would think you would be
like I
kicking
told her,
some-
I done got a little crazy. and so if someone tells you they crazy, do not try to talk
Right.
them down.
Right.
Accept what
Let
they
them
have
get
told
over it.
you
Right.
and move your tail about their
out
way.
the way.
And that was my problem. It wasn't what she said because I had tuned her out maybe an hour ago, but it was the fact that she kept walking up in my space. And I felt the need to go in her space and let her feel how that feels.
But you were good because you only glued her together.
she was falling apart.
She was all glued up when she already tore the
Absolutely.
girl's
Get out
suit.
the seat.
I figured that
That's what
$300
we
Louis
reached out and touched
Vuitton was
somebody.
messed up from now on.
Oh, you messed up her.
Oh, well, she was
She
a
gonna send her
designer
she gonna send
kind
you a
of
bill
person,
now. She know it was you. You in
Yeah, I
trouble.
hope Miss Wallace.
So I just wanted to see if crazy glue really do it.
But you know, I think I can empathize when people get to a boiling point because I know all of us have it in us. And so the thing is to not to trigger anger in other people. That's why I say when we talk about firing somebody, there's a way to do it so that you don't humiliate a person, which I think why people probably wait till the end of the day instead of you get there at 9 o'clock and okay, clear out your desk, get out, and everybody in the office is watching you be humiliated.
I think it's the wrong thing to do if there is any manager out there. Do not pack somebody's stuff up and have their box waiting for them. I think that is the most humiliating thing.
And that'll make a person go off.
Snap! I seen.
Come back.
I didn't go off, but I seen a young lady. They had her box, and everybody who came to work said, "Why is that box packed there?" And so by the 15th person,
look at her,
she came in at the 16th saying, "That's my box." And less than 3 minutes, she was throwing everything around. I mean, hidden, but we were all under the desk trying to run for cover. And then the manager, who was such a wonderful, eloquent speaker, comes in, "What's going on?" Next thing I know is boom, boom, boom. And, you know, the police were called. And so people can lose it.
There's a way to let someone go. Because you don't know what financial pressures they might be under. You know, this job might be keeping them from losing their home. And you could disrupt their home.
Right. Now, that is
family,
true.
You know, everything. So you don't know what is going to, the hardship is going to cause. So that's what makes people snap.
Right. And just like you said, you know, nobody really, when you're on a job, sometimes you learn personal things about folks, but you don't know what really triggers that individual.
Right.
And when you come out of that professional space and you're into their personal survival mode, you put them in a survival, how am I going to make it? You know, I have kids that depend on me, and you tell them they no longer have income, or you don't need their services, and they have, you know, given up nights and days, because a lot of the people who are oblivious to the fact that they're about to get fired are the ones that take fouls home, sleep in the home, sacrifice for the company.
And then they feel like, wait a minute, I sacrificed and then you're going to treat me like this?
Absolutely.
No one is oblivious because, again, to what is about to happen. There are systems in place, even in private sector, where there are laws that you have to tell the person that you're going to let them go. Now, I agree, places that closed down, because I felt really bad for the people of Fannie Mae and people of that construction company that used to make the blinds. So, but, okay, ladies, what I want to do is have each one of you give us a little closing remark on either our conversations about workplace, disgruntled employees being safe, or even the Muslim women perspective. You got 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Well, I think we all are responsible for our behavior, wherever we are, and we have to always be conscious of what we represent as women, as human beings, and we have a responsibility to always be in control of our behavior so that people don't have to fear us and they don't have to fear what we may do. And so if you know who you are, then you project the right image because it's coming from the heart.
Thank you.
That was 29 seconds, it wasn't 30.
29 seconds. Well, this is Sandra Campbell. I want to thank my guest, Roxy, and I'm Miss Naima Latif, Roxy Williams. And thank you for joining with Woman to Woman. We'll see you next time. Woo!